the carbon tax isn't the only controversial environmental policy that that Trudeau and Guilbeault are pushing. They are getting involved in all kinds of areas of provincial jurisdiction, including regulations on electricity. But they also have this mandate that all motor vehicles will have to be electric by 2035. I know that you've had criticisms around the EV deals that Trudeau signed with Stellantis, Volkswagen, particularly around the issue of bringing in foreign workers for part of that. But on the wider issue, uh, our grid may not be able to handle full electrification of all vehicles by 2035. Would you keep that policy in place if you were prime minister? Would you perhaps look at what companies like Toyota and Honda are doing with more hybrid models to reduce emissions? Where would you be on that front?
Look, we think there's a very serious risk that this will mean massive new costs for consumers, particularly low-income people. Electric vehicles are more expensive than our traditional internal combustion or hybrid models. So I worry that a lot of working class, low-income people will not be able to own a car. That means they can't get to work. That means their lives are turned upside down. I would rather work with the manufacturers on incentives and smart light touch regulations that encourage more energy efficiency in each automobile that comes off the assembly line, and improve in small incremental steps year after year after year. That would both reduce emissions and costs for consumers without risking a sort of massive increase in purchase price at the dealerships for our consumers. So I'm again, this could amount to a car tax in the end, a very large car tax, and it will hammer the poorest people the hardest, as we know, as it always does. So common sense conservatives are going to protect consumers and businesses by rejecting these kinds of extreme and radical policy shifts.
You know, I just think of a building that I live in. It was built before the advent of the electric car. Retrofitting it to have everyone have the ability to charge their car would be extremely cost prohibitive for the building, for the owners, for the tenants. It would drive up the cost of absolutely everything.
And then there's the electricity. Where do we get the electricity from? We need to massively increase our output, but the C-69, the Liberal energy regulation law, makes it very difficult to get nuclear power plants, hydroelectric dams, or other energy sources onto the grid. So what I would do is repeal that law, green light green projects. We can have more nuclear, hydroelectric, geothermal, and in some cases, natural gas power onto the grid so that we can power an electric future. And when people plug in their hybrid or their toaster, there's electricity that comes running through the wire.